How you going, people? Another isolated incident from the blue line. How did we get here?
Say for a minute. Can you imagine the description of someone trying to break into people's cars?
I'm not breaking anyone's car.
Earning the hate. Welcome to another episode of Earning the Hate. So this guy's walking to work, and this cop is a complete asshole. Deputy McMaster. What a arrogant punk. Unfortunately, what he did is within the law, and he's going to be okay. And it's just wrong. This guy got a ruptured eardrum, broken collarbone, broken hand, and a fracture and concussion because this cop is responding to somebody who might be trying to break in or look in cars. Sees a guy walking. Guy stops. This guy didn't run. He's not showing a whole bunch of furtive movement. Granted, if I got a call and said there was a guy in a hoodie trying to break into cars and I saw this guy at night walking, I would contact him. But this cop is just a complete dick from word go. Guy's got headphones on. He can't hear him. He's not being resistant at all.
Let's see your hands. Let's see your hands.
So he's just stopping his music like, hey, what's going on?
Put your hands in your pockets.
Get your hands out of your pocket. Okay, dumbass donut boy. His hands ain't in his pocket.
Turn up your hands a bit. Excuse me. Being detained, but I'll take your backpack off. Take your backpack off.
Excuse me. What am I doing?
Take your back.
This guy is asking reasonable questions. He's not resisting. There was some lawyer. Where's that video? So this lawyer, and this, I'm not really cracking on this guy. This guy, I think I've seen another video. He's pretty concise. He's pretty credible. He's got a lot of good information. However, in this video, he totally backs up the cop 100%. And the big thing that he misses, if you want to go watch the law of self-defense and watch his video, you can. The big thing I think he misses on this is reasonable force. He wants to say how the guy resisted, he wasn't comply, he has a duty to comply, the officer is justified in what he's doing, but he doesn't really, to me, point out this cop is a tyrant, out of control, excessive, overused force, and the force he used was not any way necessary. And that's where he kind of lost me on this review. Although his legal evaluation, that you're required to comply, you're required to submit, you don't get to ask questions, just because you ask questions doesn't terminate. I get all that. I may not even agree with it. I don't agree with it. I think our government has too much power to freaking shit on people. But he is correct. The cop was within the law, except his excessive, unnecessary force. So we're back to this.
Can you explain what the
Can you explain to me why I'm being detained? That is a reasonable question, which should be a reasonable response. Most agencies have a policy that when they pull you over, the officer is required to identify himself and tell you the reason for the stop. And then he will ask for your license, registration, proof of insurance. That's most agencies require that because it's reasonable. This cop shows up in the middle of the night. This guy, he's doing an investigation of a possible suspicious person breaking or looking into cars. I get it. Could be a crime. The guy didn't try to run. Most people committing crimes don't have headphones on. This guy is confused and is not trying to pull away or resist or actively resist at any time. He does spin, he's asking questions, he's a little resistive, but not to the level of what this cop did.
Before you go on the ground, take your backpack off.
I'm going to get picked up for work.
He's trying to protect his phone. Gee, that's reasonable. I mean, phones cost $1,000. Government doesn't care. This fat slob doesn't care unless the freaking phone has donut icing on it. Then he might want to lick it. Otherwise, he doesn't give a shit about this guy's property. He's just being a tyrannical dickhead.
You want to play this game?
He's got him in a wrist lock. He's putting him over the car. I don't know. He's gaining the advantage. I might not do this. I guess it would depend on the situation. This guy just looks at me like he's no threat. He's just confused. It's like, dude, and I know the difference. Some cop be like, man, how many times Rick has a guy act confused and then he tries to pull out a gun or he tries to run or he throws dope or... I get it. People lie. But you got to be able to read people. This guy is not showing me any aggressive. And Who thinks this cop is literally scared of this guy? Who think this cop demonstrate any type of fear whatsoever? He doesn't. It's total bullshit. This cop is a dickhead and a pussy.
The chain's on your back.
This is my phone.
Put it down.
Can you tell me what's going on?
So he does kind of say, put your phone down. But this guy is he just thinks this is my world and all you pesky citizens who have no rights. I am king. You are peasants. If you don't do everything I tell you immediately, I mean, it's just freaking crazy.
Just put your hands behind your back before you end up on the ground.
So the guy is asking questions, and he is, by the letter of the law, slowing this officer down, which is interfering, obstructing this guy's investigation. By the letter of the law, that attorney was right. But the spirit of the law is, look, there is a difference between a citizen who has not been proven to do anything wrong, who is not demonstrating imminent danger whatsoever, who is smaller than the cop. This cop is not scared of him, and for him to slam him face first on the concrete. Anyone that thinks that's reasonable, well, you're a fucking idiot too. And that goes for the attorney if he thinks it's reasonable.
Detained for a minute.
This guy is totally like, dude, why are you doing this? What the f... And I mean, he doesn't know if this guy has autism, if he's mentally challenged, if he doesn't understand, because he doesn't take the time. He doesn't have to. He's a cop. Government protects him. He's got immunity. He can't be sued. He can do what the fuck he wants, and the pesky citizens will just take it. And then he'll get to run around and brag. He'll have this little clip to show all his cops. Yeah, I just slammed this little long-haired hippie on the ground and smashed his face. Told him, I showed him. I didn't get in trouble. I didn't get sued. That's what this cop's going to be doing, people, I guarantee you.
In the description, someone trying to break into people's cars.
I'm not breaking anyone's car.
This pull away right here is what the lawyer said. He resisted and ripped his arm away. This is not a rip away. This guy's like, dude, I didn't break in any car. Why am I being handcuffed?
Trying to break into people's cars.
I'm not breaking anyone's car.
You see any aggressiveness or yanking or pulling on this guy at all? This cop is a fucking dick, and this should be... He caused serious bodily injury on this guy. He did deadly force. This guy could have died when he hit his head slamming on the concrete. Why? Because this attorney that I showed said he was within the law and he was investigating. And he had a duty to respond and cooperate. Therefore, it was justified that he should lose his life and possibly lose his life from serious bodily injury and or death, which is deadly force, because this cop is a pussy. Busted his eye, skull fracture, concussion, broke his collarbone. Why? Because of that. Hey guy, I didn't break in a car. What a complete... I'm telling you people, this is going to be justified. Cops are going to be saying this guy did good. When I was teaching use of force, I used to tell cops, look, you tell somebody what you're going to do, and then you do it. You give them warning, you give them a couple of warnings, and then you do what you tell them. And I've always said, no people belong on the ground. This guy is what I call a maybe person. There's no people, there's yes people, and there's maybe people. Sometimes maybe people belong on the ground because they're just being, well, why should I? And why should I? And I'm just doing this. You're doing it because I'm black, and you blah, blah. And they won't comply at all, and they've ripped away 5 or 6 times. It's like, screw this. You're going to the ground. But even if I took a guy to the ground who deserved to be on the ground, there is a difference between squatting down and manhandling, trapping his arms so he can't break his fall, and slamming his face first with a power dive that even if you did it on a mat, it would probably knock this guy unconscious. And this cop does it on concrete because of this.
Breaking people's cars.
I'm not breaking anyone's car.
Absolutely outrageous, earning the hate. This guy goes into the Dick Earning the Hate Hall of Fame. Fuck you, Officer McAllister. You're a fucking pussy. McMaster. Look at this cop. Looks at his arm because he scraped his arm. He's going to claim injury. He's going to claim this guy hurt an officer and charge this guy with a felony. Resisting. Just outrage. People, I'm telling you, man, this is not what cops should be doing. Cops didn't do this shit in front of me when I worked. If I would have seen this, I would have called this freaking pussy out and fucking stopped it or got involved. This shit should not be happening. And you know what? It's normal. It's routine. People are desensitized to it, and they still want to back the blue. It's just crazy.
Get my fucking back.
Put your hands behind your fucking back. After I busted your collarbone, gave you a concussion, broke your eye socket because you asked, I'm not breaking into cars.
You dumb bastard.
You dumb bastard. It's all about him. The perfect tyrant.
Oh my God! I'm just going to work!
Guy's just walking to work.
Help me! I'm just going to work! I'm just going to work!
I want you all to put yourself in this guy's situation. You're walking to work. A cop puts his lights on you. He starts manhandling you, putting you in a wrist lock, doesn't explain what's going on, and then slams you on the ground, gives you a concussion, and breaks your eye and your collarbone. And there will be idiots out there saying, well, the guy should have complied. Well, the guy should have listened. Guy should have done what the cop told him. If the cop told him to stand in the middle of the road and there's cars coming really fast, he should have just stood in the road and got run over. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Pardon the hate. If you want to go back and watch this, this cop just shows what a dick he is through this whole thing. Fat slob. Couldn't fight his way out of a paper bag. Just thinks he's Mr. Tough Guy because he's picking on a guy that can't fight back. He knows he can't be sued. He knows if the guy fights back, he's got backup right around the corner. What a fucking pussy.
No! No!
Shut the fuck up. They're yanking him around with a broken collarbone, concussion, twisting his arms back, holding him by his arms, which is not an approved technique. You should not be carrying a guy. You can dislocate shoulders this way. And people will be supporting these cops and saying it's an isolated incident and blaming me. Rick, why are you making cops look bad? Why do you hate cops? Just outrageous, people.
No! No!
Shut the fuck up. Whatever. You can go watch this guy. Every camera counts. All right. We'll end that there, earning the hate.